Imagine opening your bank account expecting that crucial deposit only to find it's missing or delayed, right when bills are piling up and costs keep climbing higher every day. If that scenario sounds all too familiar, you're not alone. And today we're diving deep into the latest developments shaking up Social Security in February 2026, including a major funding boost that's already passed one chamber of Congress, the real story behind your upcoming checks, and why so many retirees, disabled individuals, and families are demanding change right now. Stick around until the end because I'll share practical steps you can take if your money doesn't arrive on time, plus what lawmakers are quietly debating that could reshape your future benefits forever. If this kind of clear, no-nonsense breakdown helps you stay ahead, hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you never miss an update that could impact your wallet. Also, drop a comment below letting me know which part of Social Security frustrates you the most: long wait times, confusing rules, or something else entirely, because your experiences help shape what we cover next. All right, let's get straight into it without wasting any more time. Right now, the biggest news buzzing around is that the House of Representatives has approved additional funding of roughly $50 million, specifically earmarked for the Social Security Administration. But before you get too excited, this isn't about bumping up your monthly checks directly. Instead, the cash targets improving customer service operations, like shortening those endless phone hold times, speeding up appointment scheduling, bringing back more staff to handle the flood of inquiries, and potentially keeping more local offices open instead of shuttering them. That distinction really matters because while everyone wants bigger payments, the reality is that poor service creates massive headaches that make accessing the benefits you already earned feel impossible for far too many people. Think about it. Seniors struggling to navigate online portals without reliable internet, folks with disabilities facing long drives to distant field offices, widows juggling paperwork while grieving, or parents caring for disabled children who can't afford delays in approvals or corrections. When the system bogs down, daily survival gets tougher fast, since for millions, Social Security isn't supplemental income, it's the rent payment, groceries, utilities, and prescriptions all rolled into one. This funding push comes amid growing frustration, voiced even on the House floor, where representatives have publicly called out how past staffing reductions and office closures actually worsened backlogs rather than solving them as promised. Experienced employees retired or left, and workloads exploded, leaving fewer hands to manage rising demand. New policies pushing everything toward digital or in-person channels only compound the problem when those channels aren't adequately supported. Supporters of this $50 million addition argue it could start reversing those trends by rehiring specialists, upgrading phone systems, and expanding virtual assistance options, though skeptics point out it might still fall short of what's truly needed given the scale of the challenges. Importantly, though, this bill hasn't cleared the Senate yet, and even if it does, it requires presidential approval before becoming law, so we're watching progress, not celebrating victory quite yet. Timelines can shift depending on congressional priorities and White House decisions, so nothing is set in stone. That said, let's shift focus to what most people check first: your actual February payment dates, because knowing exactly when the money lands brings real peace of mind, even while bigger reforms remain up in the air. The official schedule remains unchanged for now, and these dates are locked in, barring any rare system-wide glitches. If your Social Security benefits began before May 1997, your deposit is slated for the 3rd of February, giving that long-standing group a predictable early arrival. For the vast majority of recipients, though, timing hinges solely on the day of the month you were born, regardless of the year. Anyone born on the 1st through the 10th sees funds hit around February 11th. Those born between the 11th and 20th typically receive payment on February 18th, landing squarely in the middle of the month. Finally, if your birthday falls on the 21st through the 31st, expect the deposit around February 25th, which often feels like the longest stretch, especially if rent or mortgages come due sooner. Over on the supplemental Social Security income side, things operate a bit differently, and since the 1st of February lands on a weekend, those payments rolled out early back on January 30th, following standard early release protocol for weekends and holidays. If that deposit didn't appear right away, don't panic immediately. Plenty of holdups stem from banking side processing delays, temporary account holds, or even simple timing differences between institutions rather than any fault at Social Security itself.
A fast check with your bank or debit card issuer can often clear up the mystery quicker than waiting on a government phone line. Should the bank side look clean, the official guidance is to allow 3 full business days past the scheduled date before escalating, since that buffer accounts for normal transfer variations. Once that window closes, reaching out directly makes sense. Try calling early in the morning when lines tend to move faster, and keep your Social Security number, date of birth, and any relevant claim details handy to speed things along. For those who prefer avoiding phone queues, setting up or logging into a My Social Security online account offers a powerful alternative where you can view detailed payment histories, status updates, recent notices, and even track applications without ever waiting on hold. It won't fix every issue, but it cuts through a lot of uncertainty and empowers you to spot problems early. Beyond the immediate payment calendar, another conversation gaining traction involves the formula used to determine annual cost of living adjustments, because many feel the current approach simply doesn't match the real expenses faced by beneficiaries. At present, increases rely on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, known as CPIW, which monitors spending patterns among active workers rather than retirees, disabled individuals, or those on fixed incomes. That mismatch becomes painfully obvious when you consider how older adults and people with disabilities typically allocate far more toward healthcare, medications, long-term housing maintenance, utilities, and other essentials that inflate at different rates than everyday items like gasoline or work-related costs tracked more heavily in CPIW. Lawmakers have floated switching to the Consumer Price Index for the Elderly, or CPIE, which aims to better capture the unique spending realities of seniors and would likely produce somewhat higher annual adjustments if implemented. Some estimates suggest the difference could translate to hundreds of extra dollars per year, depending on inflation patterns, though projections vary widely and nothing has been enacted. This remains firmly in the discussion phase, meaning it could advance, gain momentum, stall indefinitely, or evolve into something else entirely. For households operating on razor-thin margins, even modest boosts could ease tough choices like skipping a doctor's visit, covering a higher copay, or stretching groceries further. But expectations should stay grounded, since legislative changes move slowly and face competing priorities. Meanwhile, everyday service barriers persist, with ongoing office consolidations, limited staffing, and rules that steer people towards self-service options that aren't always accessible. For individuals with mobility limitations, limited transportation options, or no comfortable access to technology, being directed to appear in person or complete everything online creates genuine hardship, not inconvenience. Advocacy organizations representing seniors, people with disabilities, and low-income communities continue amplifying these voices, pushing for reforms that prioritize dignity, equitable access, and actual usability of hard-earned benefits, rather than just budgetary checkboxes. Public statements from lawmakers acknowledging these strains signal growing awareness, even if solutions lag behind. In the meantime, equipping yourself with actionable knowledge remains one of the strongest defenses against frustration. If a payment ever fails to appear after confirming with your financial institution and allowing the 3-business-day grace period, contact Social Security promptly. Persistence pays off here. Politely but firmly explain your situation, request any available accommodations like mail-based alternatives, phone-based verification, or supervisory review when in-person requirements feel unreasonable due to health, travel costs, or other barriers. The agency can sometimes flex in those scenarios, though results vary and patience is often required. Balancing assertiveness without aggression becomes key because giving up too soon risks prolonged delays, while pushing too hard can close doors. Broader debates around funding, staffing formulas, and access will shape the program long-term, but they rarely resolve overnight. What stays constant is that these benefits represent contributions made over decades of work, taxes paid, and rules followed. They aren't handouts or favors, but entitlements rightfully claimed. That core truth endures, regardless of temporary system strains, political gridlock, or headline noise. So as February unfolds, keep tabs on your scheduled date, monitor your account proactively, take measured steps if issues arise, and verify information carefully before reacting to rumors or unconfirmed reports. Progress tends to arrive incrementally, in pieces that don't always make splashy news but accumulate into meaningful improvements over time. Feeling overwhelmed or irritated by the pace is completely valid, given how much rides on reliable delivery of these funds, yet focusing on controllable actions like staying organized, informed, and proactive builds a layer of stability amid uncertainty. These payments exist because you or your loved one earned them through years of effort, and that foundation holds firm even when headlines suggest otherwise. Clarity emerges eventually, often slower than ideal, but steadily nonetheless. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. If any of this resonated or raised new questions, drop them in the comments section below along with your biggest takeaway. Don't forget to like the video, share it with anyone who relies on Social Security, and subscribe with notifications turned on for more straightforward updates as developments unfold throughout 2026 and beyond. Take care, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next one.